From the beginning of times, what has made man different from animals is the ability to dream and envision things. I mean, I don't know if animals dream and think the same way that we do, but we're the only species that has been able to come up with lots of ideas and developed a lot of projects based on things that were once just part of our imagination. Kinda like flying. In the last century, investors came up with all sorts of ideas, and some people finally figured out a way for us to fly. Planes, parachutes, helicopters, hot air balloons, there's many options when it comes to getting ourselves to the skies, and it's very exciting to take off and go to the clouds, but landing is the part that not many look forward to. We'll see how some skilled, and lucky, pilots manage to execute some of the most impressive landings in history. Stay with me all the way to the top of the list and find one which took my breath away. It's a flying experience that I find to be very, very scary. With all that said and done, let's begin, shall we? Number 3. Exciting landings at Wellington, New Zealand. And here's another experience that doesn't just happen once in a lifetime, but it actually happens quite a few times at different flights due to weather conditions. In this video, you can see how an Air New Zealand flight is trying to land at Wellington's airport, but it fails 2 times before finally being able to descend and stop. Apparently the wind sometimes keeps pilots from properly reaching the ground, so they have to fly around the airport and come back to try for a second and sometimes even a 3rd time. But people don't complain about this anymore. It seems like most New Zealanders and visitors are aware of the weather, and they trust that their pilots will sooner or later bring them down to the ground. Number 2. US Airways 1549, January 2009. Of all the flights on this list, this is probably the one that you know a little bit about. It happened back in 2009 and there's even a movie about it, with Tom Hanks in the leading role as Captain Chelsea B. Sully Sullenberger, a man who became a hero after performing an amazing landing on the Hudson River. Shortly after taking off from LaGuardia Airport, the aircraft was met by a flock of Canadian geese that made it lose power in both engines. When Sully realized that he was not going to be able to get back to LaGuardia or any other airport, he decided to land the plane on the river. He says that all of his 42 years of experience really paid off at this decisive moment. It was not easy for Sully to get the recognition he deserved. Some people even claim that he could have made it back to LaGuardia if he had started the maneuvers right after the bird struck. However, considering the time it takes for a pilot to assess this kind of situation, people came to realize that Sully took the best decision, and best of all, no lives were lost during the incident. He is indeed a hero. Number 1. British Airways 009. June 1982. At the top of this list, I have one of the scariest flying experiences in history. It happened in June of 1982 when Captain Eric Moody noted that all 4 engines of his aircraft had stopped working. He was flying over the Indian Ocean when all the engines caught on fire, and the cabin filled with sulfuric smoke coming from ashes of a volcano nearby. In fact, the problem started because the plane had flown right through a cloud of ash during its route. The plane began to fall and lost air pressure, but Captain Moody was able to send it to a nosedive just so they could reach an altitude where it was easier to breathe for everyone. Thanks to that, 3 of the engines began to work again, and he was able to bring the plane to a safer spot. That's pretty scary. Scary enough that when volcanoes release ash, all flights to and from surrounding airports get suspended. It's just not worth the risk, and we're not sure if every pilot in the world would be as lucky as Captain Moody to bring everyone to safety. I hope these stories don't keep you from getting on a plane in the future. I know these situations are quite scary, but it seems that pilots today really know what they're doing. Have you ever witnessed a scary airplane landing? Let us know in the comment section down below. With all that said and done, I will see you all next time. Later, everybody.